Verse 204. External objects are imagined. Those endowed with corporeality are dependent on relative knowledge. Being deluded, they see not themselves. Therefore, a mind is evolved. In the previous verse, we were concerned with the notion of Pratchika Buddhahood. This is actually a very helpful way of understanding. If you haven't watched that video, then it might be an idea to do so. Because it was actually pointing us to the very nature of our experience. And if we can embrace that nature, then we're touching enlightenment. So it's very profound and quite exciting. Because there's one fact, one undisputable fact about our experience, about my experience, about your experience. Well, let's talk about your experience. Your experience is your experience alone. Nobody else is experiencing it. Nobody else can experience. This is the fact. This is a fundamental fact, and it's one we don't like to give too much emphasis to, for various reasons. Perhaps it's a painful possibility that this is only my experience and nobody else's. Nobody else can know. So it could be painfully alone. Or maybe there's a bit of a worry that you could go a bit crazy, a bit psychotic. And so because of these fears and because of such anxiety, we like to tell ourselves that, well, other people are having similar experiences. So my experience is not mine alone. There are others out there who've got similar experiences, particularly people that belong to a similar culture or subculture. Perhaps people who share the same taste in music as I do, or have the same passion for certain films as I do, or are into particular artists that I like. Or we might even get into science and mathematics, because that's beyond my personal experience. That's about ideas. Ideas can be communicated. My experience cannot be communicated. My experience of the colour blue cannot be communicated. My experience of a particular piece of music cannot be communicated. My experience of a particular disappointment in love cannot be communicated. My experience of a particular physical pain cannot be communicated. But the assumption is other people have similar experiences, so we can communicate. But on the other hand, this is the appeal of ideas. This is the appeal of science, because it's not about experience. It's about ideas. It's about logical arguments. And so we like to actually give that more reality. We're encouraged almost to give more reality to ideas than to experience. So that's an interesting one. I think we have to come down here firmly on the side of art, in as much as it's more concerned with experience rather than ideas, although we can enjoy ideas too. So this is what was spoken of in the previous video, the truth of Pratyeka Buddhahood, the truth of solitude. So if we can get beyond our fears and anxieties about this and embrace our ultimate solitariness, well, we're coming right back to our sense of being. This is actually very wonderful. Stop having an idea about it and then going, yeah, but that's where our ideas about us being psychotic or about being alone and all the rest of it come. It's only when we start thinking about it and start worrying about it. Embrace it. Embrace the solitariness of your own experience. Don't make a drama about it. Don't paint yourself as some romantic hero alone in your own experience that nobody else can understand. That's all irrelevant. Come back to the fact of the solitariness of your own experience right now and embrace that. And you'll come back to a sense of being, a very wonderful and complete sense of being. And see verse 204 from this perspective. External objects are imagined. So if I'm talking about the colour blue once again, the colour blue is an experience, and yet we put it out there as an object which can be experienced by everybody else. So then we have the idea of blue. And this is dependent on relative knowledge. This is the conceptual understanding which we all share. The idea removed from the experience, which we then actually give more reality to than the reality of our experience. So being deluded, they see not themselves, therefore a mind is evolved, and the mind is the crucible of ideas. And we forget all about the kitchen. So come back to the solitariness of your experience. Solitary, it's quite a negative term, isn't it? Solitary confinement. Solitary confinement. Solitude alone. It might be appealing, but there's always a hint that you're missing out on something. There's a party going on somewhere else. So look at all the things that prevent you from embracing and enjoying what is essentially the true nature of the situation. The solitariness of your experience. Embrace it. Embrace it and notice how you come back to the fullness of what I describe as a sense of being. is a very wonderful and accessible way to the truth.